Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure if Mike Jones from Google is here, but I just have to say I'm also from Canada, and the Beer Hunter is only for the province of Ontario, not for the rest of Canada. I have to make that clear. In any case, I am delighted to be here, and I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation to speak at this Geospatial World Forum of 2014. And I'm especially happy to be able to speak to you, first of all, about the ocean, because I know that many of you are not ocean people, but you will be by the end. And also about the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, or the IOC, of UNESCO's role in ocean science and the importance of geospatial tools to the IOC's work. Now let me start with a little information about the ocean. To begin with, the Earth truly is an ocean planet. It covers 71% of the Earth's surface and accounts for 97% of the Earth's water. It contains 96% of the Earth's living space, provides 2/3 of the value of all the natural services offered by the planet, and the oxygen for every second breath that we take. It has cushioned the blow of climate change by absorbing 25 to 30% of all the anthropogenic carbon emissions and 80% of the heat that's been added to the global system. It regulates our weather, and it provides food for billions of people. The ocean and its resources are a part of our common heritage and an important part of many cultures whose beliefs and practices are closely associated with the marine and coastal environments. In fact, 49 UNESCO World Heritage Sites have been inscribed for their coastal or marine values. So the ocean is, in fact, priceless, but as mentioned yesterday, very difficult to measure. Now, worldwide, the ocean is a critical economic resource. The value of marine activities is estimated at 5% of global GDP, or close to $3 trillion US. 90% of all goods are shipped by the ocean. More than 40% of the human population lives in the coastal zone, with projections that by 2025 this may reach 75%. Fisheries provide 4.2 billion people with more than 15% of their average per capita intake of animal protein, and fisheries and aquaculture provide more than 180 million jobs. But in fact, the ocean supports many more industries, not only fisheries and aquaculture, but also shipping, oil and gas, marine and coastal tourism, and many more. The ocean is an integral part of our planet and an absolutely essential component of human lives, livelihoods, and the environments that sustain us. But despite our reliance on marine resources, ocean acidification, which was mentioned yesterday, climate change, polluting activities, and overexploitation of marine resources have made the ocean one of the Earth's most threatened ecosystems. I'm going to give you a few examples of how human activities threaten the ocean and its precious resources. As I've mentioned, the ocean absorbs more than 26% of the carbon dioxide emitted to the atmosphere from human activities. The result is increasing acidity or decreasing pH of the ocean. This can reduce the availability of calcium for plankton and shelled species, which of course threatens their survival. Since many of these organisms are at the base of much of the marine food chain, the potential impact of ocean acidification on entire ecosystems can be dramatic. Land-based sources account globally for approximately 80% of marine pollution, including plastics and microplastics. Excessive nutrients from sewage outfalls and agricultural runoff have contributed to the rise in the number of occurrences of harmful algal blooms. These are phenomena that are caused by both toxic and non-toxic phytoplankton that displace indigenous species, alter habitats, and accelerate oxygen depletion. And the unchecked dumping of waste from human activities into coastal zones has led to a drastic increase in the number of dead zones in the ocean, that's hypoxic zones, from 49 in the 1960s to well over 400 now, resulting in the complete collapse of some ecosystems. Nowadays, more than 245,000 square kilometers are affected, which is equivalent to the size of the United Kingdom. Over 80% of the world's 232 marine ecoregions have reported the presence of invasive species, which is the second most significant cause of biodiversity loss on a global scale. The world's capture marine fisheries are in a severely troubled state. The FAO estimates that 85% of fish stocks are fully exploited, overexploited, depleted, or recovering from depletion. So in fact, the ocean faces a multitude of interconnected threats that is unprecedented in modern human history. All regions of the ocean stand to be impacted by multiple stressors in the near future, while over 40% of marine ecosystems are already simultaneously facing several of the major pressures outlined before. Now, I don't want it to be all gloom and doom, but I did want to set the stage. So where does the IOC fit in this? Well, the IOC vision responds to these issues by recognizing that a sustainable blue planet will benefit all nations, and that it's a global responsibility to establish sustainable global governance for a healthy ocean. In particular, the IOC vision highlights the need for strong scientific understanding and systematic observations. Our medium-term strategy has 4 high-level objectives, including promoting healthy ocean ecosystems, developing early warning systems for ocean hazards, including tsunamis, assisting societies in attaining resiliency to climate change and variability, and developing and applying enhanced knowledge of emerging issues. We work at the intergovernmental level within the UN to coordinate international action on marine science, global ocean observations, and promotion of sustainable governance practices for the ocean. And the IOC achieves its high-level objectives through different programs that fall into the functions that are shown here. These include fostering research to strengthen knowledge, maintaining, strengthening, and integrating global ocean observing data and information systems, developing early warning systems, services, and preparedness, supporting assessments and information to improve the science policy interface, enhancing ocean governance, and developing the institutional capacities of all the functions as a cross-cutting function. And as you'll see on the left, IOC does this to build the scientific knowledge, to apply that knowledge for societal benefit, and ultimately to improve governance. Now, the goals of applying knowledge for societal benefit and improving governance are served, as I said, by the process of generating knowledge and developing methods to disseminate the use of that knowledge. The IOC high-level objectives and expected results all call for coordination toward the same goal: actionable knowledge. This is the required synthesis and understanding of the science of the ocean, which will aid society and the people who depend upon the ocean for sustainable services. Managing sustainable ocean systems depends on an unbroken chain, from observations and monitoring through data management and information systems to creation of ocean services, and finally to actionable knowledge designed by and for the end users. The first link of the chain, ocean observation systems, is coordinated by the IOC through the Global Ocean Observing System, or GOOS, and related programs. By seeking international agreements on the fundamental requirements of ocean observation systems through identifying essential ocean variables, GOOS becomes the framework of a unified ocean observation system which encourages data sharing and utilization. And I will say that GOOS, the IOC, work very closely with GEO through the Blue Planet on observing systems. Now, IOC, as I've mentioned, is the lead for GOOS along with other sponsors. It's quite a complex system, and you can see its slightly in situ components here. It is made up of observations from many different types of platforms: research and volunteer ships, moorings, profiling floats, surface drifters, and tide gauges. And you can see in the map, in the graphic here, a snapshot of where these observations are taken in the global ocean. Now, these components are complemented by surface observations of the ocean physics and color from satellites, as shown on the left of this slide. The observations themselves are funded by national, normally research, and sometimes other ocean observing funding. Now, the IOC and the World Meteorological Organization, or WMO, together sponsor a joint commission, which is unique in the UN system, on Oceanography and Marine Meteorology, or JCOM, which is the implementation coordination branch of GOOSE. JCOM works with the operators from many countries of the elements of GOOSE, providing coordination of data streams, standard setting, observation best practices, advice on deployment opportunities, and development of data products. The second link in the chain is the collection and sharing of data. The technical accomplishments of the past few decades are really quite impressive for collecting data at sea and communicating it in near real time to shore for analysis, storage, and distribution. However, much of the potential of the technology is not realized, often due to incoherent data policies and lack of complete coordination between and among nations and institutions. The IOC's International Oceanographic Data and Information Exchange, or IODE, has been working since 1961 on these problems and has achieved great progress, including the establishment of Ocean Data Information Networks, or ODINs, and National Oceanographic Data Centers, or NODCs, in almost 80 countries. A wide spectrum of stakeholders depend critically on the availability of international data exchange systems that provides strategic information from all available sources. The purpose is to facilitate the exchange of oceanographic data and information among participating member states and to meet the needs of users for data and information products. Now we come to a point on the path toward actionable knowledge which I believe has the most resonance with this conference. Observations and shared data begin to realize their scientific purposes only when combined and synthesized with other quality-controlled data, and ocean products are created which incorporate scientific understanding. Geospatial tools highlighted at this conference are an important aspect of this process, and we heard yesterday, for example, from Jürgen Dolo about the applicability of LiDAR. Now, the IOC has been very involved in integrated coastal area or coastal zone management and marine spatial planning, especially in developing countries. The IOC has developed and promoted ICAM as a tool to pursue sustainable development in coastal zones. Also related to integrated management, and as I've mentioned, marine spatial planning is a public process of analyzing and allocating the spatial and temporal distribution of human activities in marine areas to achieve ecological, economical, and social objectives that usually have been specified through a political process. And for the past several years, IOC has been a coordinating agency in the European Commission's program, Pegaso. The Pegaso is a complete end-to-end demonstration of the value of creating geographic information systems for integrated coastal zone management and marine spatial planning. The central principle of Pegaso, which stands for People for Ecosystem-Based Governance and Assessing Sustainable Development of the Ocean and Coasts — I don't know who stays up to think about these acronyms, but there you go — was that sharing data and methods would improve all products, and that by creating a community of users, expertise, knowledge, and data will be easily shared among nations and contribute to the participation of developing states. The collaborative project of the Pegaso Spatial Data Infrastructure, or SDI, created a practical tool accessible via the Internet and acting as a central repository for geographical information that improves the understanding of the coastal features and issues. The Pegaso SDI has been designed to support integrated coastal zone management and the integrated assessments of coastal zones and marine areas in the Mediterranean and Black Seas. The Pegaso SDI is the shared data infrastructure that supports ready access to geographic information. From a technical standpoint, it's a distributed geographic database with standardized protocols and a tool for data sharing and distribution. From a collaborative standpoint, it's the means to coordinate actions of nations and organizations to establish the necessary policies, laws, agreements, financial support, and the like. The SDI provides the users a readily accessible tool for discovery, visualization, and delivery. Marine observations, data, and science are combined with socioeconomic data of concern to coastal communities, greatly facilitating knowledge-based decision-making. A primary output of Pegaso is the Atlas, a systematic collection of maps that describes some aspects of the knowledge of a specific territory and is usually complemented with text, images, tables, or charts. The Atlas contains cartographic and decision support tools, all of which are accessible via the Internet. The Atlas online information resources help build collaborative relationships within and across state, regional, national, and international areas to foster more effective management of coastal and ocean resources and activities. And while the Atlas serves the use of a standalone data viewer, its full potential lies in its use as a collaborative decision support tool. Understanding the benefits of SDI has increased the willingness of partners to share data and to contribute more data sets that are easily accessible through the web portal. As stakeholders use the resources, we found that they become more supportive of the value in sharing data and are motivated to make the whole system more robust. Now, on a wider scale than Pegaso, the IOC also identifies needs at the global scale for ocean products. Users of ocean knowledge products are too often left out of system designs until the final step. We've seen the danger of delivering data products without fully understanding the needs of the recipients, and I think we heard about that yesterday. Wasted time and expense can be the result, of course. Now, recognizing that ocean data must be converted into decision-making knowledge by listening to the expectations of our member states, the IOC convenes nations in ocean science programs to define service requirements and needs. And in fact, the IOC is one of the few fora where developing states, and in particular SIDS, or small island developing states, can participate in these programs. Key to accomplishing our goals, capacity development has special importance, as demonstrated by the IOC's commitment at the Rio+20 conference on building global capacity for marine sciences, observations, and transfer of marine technology. The IOC capacity development goals are to promote knowledge and capacity of developing nations to bolster scientific understanding of ocean and coastal processes to improve the management of the human relationship with the ocean, to reduce the risks and impacts of ocean-related hazards, to take climate change adaptation and mitigation measures, and to develop and implement policies for healthy ocean ecosystems by reinforcing and further developing member states' institutional capacities to protect and sustainably manage ocean and coastal resources. IOC sees the development and use of geospatial tools such as Pegaso and ICZM as instrumental to achieving these goals. So in closing, I would like to come back to the importance of the ocean to the world and to the very things that drive humankind forward. The ocean community, indeed we all, are indebted to space-based technologies for demonstrating that we really do live on an ocean planet, as so aptly pointed out by Arthur C. Clarke. Now, I believe the ocean and geospatial communities have a wonderful opportunity, no, indeed an obligation, to work more closely together to protect and restore the ocean and to ensure its, and thereby our, sustainability. I thank you very much for your attention and look forward to the discussion.